NFL playoff picture as we've been looking at it the past few weeks. Currently, and we can see where we sit here in the AFC first. And we have the current number 1 seed is Baltimore. Then we go to what would be a 2-7 matchup in Miami and Indianapolis. Kansas City, Buffalo would be your 3-6 matchup right now. Jacksonville, Cleveland would be your 4-5 matchup. Still in the hunt, we have Houston, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, and Las Vegas in the 8, 9, 10, and 11 seed.
I'm sorry, Jim, you have a misprint. EJ Christians told me that the Bills season is over.
It's great.
All right, so
that's great.
In teams that have clinched, Miami has clinched, Baltimore has clinched, and
by clinched, Jim, you mean they've made the playoffs?
They have clinched a playoff spot. Yes, they have not clinched divisions yet. The number 1 seed is still in play. It could still be Miami. It could still be Baltimore. It could still be Cleveland.
Safe to say, Jim, the upcoming game of the Ravens and the Finns could decide that Humpy Bumpy.
More on that later.
Sorry.
But student of the game, Kyle Nash. Houston, Pittsburgh, Cincy, Vegas. Do any of those teams get in, or do you think the field that we have is going to be the field that we will get in 2 weeks?
Jim, I'm going to tell you this. 7 and 8 in the AFC are still very much in play based on the schedule of the teams in question. They are on a collision course in Week 18. And should they win in the coming week, Week 18, I believe, does decide that 7th seed. So that's a factor. As for everybody else, without, I think we locked in the Browns last week, and rightly so.
Yeah.
Listen.
And rightly so.
I know I've been rapping with my dude, CeeLou, Chris Lewis of the Sports After Dark podcast. And he tried to explain to me as best as he could the magic of what the Colts are doing. But Shane Steichen, no longer the top Coach of the Year candidate. You have to give Stefanski a ring there for the Browns so far. I haven't decided again. Like I said, there's still a couple weeks before we do the student of the game superlatives. Mikey Byrne, be ready. 2 weeks, bitch. But
you've played 4 different quarterbacks. You've lost both of your starting running backs. You've resurrected Joe Flacco from the grave, which apparently the New York Jets didn't have a thought to do.
The goddamn Jets.
Like you know what I mean? It is
goddamn Jets.
It has been a brilliant coaching job. I see a comment here from Steve. Steve, shoot us a message on Facebook or wherever you are listening. Shoot us a message.
As a real quick note there, Jim, I think it's worth mention that the Jets, should they have gone with Joe Flacco, would have performed that seance a second time. I think that's fair to wonder. There's no way he can do this again, right? Like I think that's fair to have had that doubt. I'll put it out there.
Sure, absolutely. EJ, same thing to you. When you look at this field and teams that are still alive, where do you see anything moving and shaking?
I mean, this shit's going to the bottom's confusing. Obviously,
that's what he meant to ask you.
Baltimore's this week.
Baltimore's.
It's about to get another kiss of death from.
I was just getting there too. Baltimore's in the 1 seed. They're going to beat Miami next week. I'm not even touching that one.
Congratulations, Devin.
It's game over. It's game over.
Yeah. Dolphins stay at 2 seed. 3 seeds. Chiefs stay there. They'll clinch next week. 4 Jaguars. So the main games now. They play who now? Jags. They play last 2 games. Kyle, Falcons, right?
Incorrect. That would be the Panthers.
And then who else?
Also the Titans.
The one out. That's 2 wins there. The Jags at the 4 seed.
Colts play the Raiders. More on that later. And then,
by the way, tell me you haven't read my holiday poem yet without telling me you haven't read my holiday poem yet on Jaguar Report.
I don't remember. It's been a long weekend. A lot of family.
A lot
of drinking too. Also, a lot of.
Okay, see, that's a good answer.
Here we go. Browns stay the 5 seed. Obviously, that's a lock. 6 seed Buffalo Bills. Yeah, they're gonna get it. They didn't get that spot. They'll win.
Sorry,
They'll beat
wait, hold on. Ernest Christian, not only did you tell me that the Bill season was over, but also in week 1, you told me they lost a must-win game. Excuse me. Can you please put up a certain president talking about a certain topic involving a word that starts with W there, Big Jim?
Wrong
President, but okay, I'll take it. I'm going over to the West Wing.
Oh, sorry. There we are.
Just stand there and you're wrong. Listen, be wrong, and get used to it.
You meant a fictional president, not a president we wish was fictional.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I went there.
Damn. Woke Jim.
I went there. Unapologetically went there.
Rude.
Don't be rude, Jim.
So the question now, EJ. So you have basically locked in seeds 1 through 6.
Buffalo's going to 16.
Again,
Okay.
So here's the question with Indy. They play the Raiders this weekend and then the Texans. Do the Texans get in? Do the Raiders get in? Or do the Colts hold stay?
Colts last game is who again? Colts last
That
game
would be the Texans in week 18.
The Colts play the Raiders this weekend and then the Texans.
That Raider game is going to be fucking. Oh God, Raiders are frisky hell now. All of a sudden.
You're an emotional.
Dude,
win
I hate
them.
I hate to say this though. I can't want to fucking say this shit after last week. I can't rule out Pittsburgh, dude. That pedigree means something. Mikey Tomlin.
I think it'll mean something when they go into Seattle this weekend, but okay.
Dude, look, and this is week to week, man. But I'm gonna take Pittsburgh. Fuck it.
Jeez.
I'm taking Pittsburgh.
I'm not mad at you. I'm not.
That pedigree, dude. That franchise.
So okay, hold on. I'll give you a chance to change your mind.
What's the schedule?
When I tell you that Pittsburgh plays at Seattle and at Baltimore.
Ooh. Baltimore may not need
Baltimore. Maybe Baltimore after this week will have the number 1 seed wrapped up.
Will they?
Yes. After Miami
them again. So there's that.
Well, I'm assuming the Baltimore will beat Miami this weekend.
You're
have the one
assuming
seed
you're
wrapped
not
up that point,
jinxing them again. Okay.
right? Remember they beat San Fran last night. I don't know if you guys forgot that.
Okay, yeah. So if they would win, they would lock up the 1 seed. You are
So
right.
at that point, that game wouldn't matter. And of course, the Steelers Ravens game is always weird.
Here's part of the question though too is it kind of goes back to the whole Peyton Manning Colts thing. You're going to have the bye. Are you really going to not play your team for 2 weeks?
I am not fucking playing Lamar Jackson. And again, it doesn't matter. Get the fuck out of here.
Especially when you have an opportunity to eliminate TJ Watt from hurting Lamar Demetrius Jackson in a postseason game.
Right. And don't forget, too, Pittsburgh beat Baltimore already once this year. Just saying.
It seems forever ago now, but you're not wrong, Chief.
Yeah.
Right. Just saying. That's on the docket. So, we're going to change that.
That's fine. If you want to,
I'm going to be off the fence, but reluctantly take Pittsburgh to take the 7 seed.
He's going to put a toe down on the grass there, Jim. And I'm not mad.
His ass is still going to be on the post. Yeah,
6
we know.
toes down.
Yeah.
He's got enough lube. He'll be fine. And it'll be
Yes.
great.
Yeah, I don't even if they lose to Miami this weekend, I still think Baltimore is going to end up as the 1 seed. Man, KC lucky enough to have gotten enough padding in the front end that I don't think I keep saying Oakland, Jesus. The Oakland Raiders of Las Vegas are going to end up catching them. So I think they're gonna lock in there. Jacksonville, similar thing as we talked about last week. Like they've done enough work on the front end, and the teams behind them are going to bastardize themselves out of winning that division. So I think your division winners are going to lock here. Cleveland definitely, the Bills probably, just because I don't have a lot of trust. Hubba. Who do you trust? And the teams behind, especially with games against New England and a Miami team that may not need that final game either.
Right.
So Buffalo probably going to get in. Man, I think it's going to come down to that last week between Houston and Indy.
If you have the chance to eliminate Buffalo, you take it.
Wow, that's true. That's true. So they would probably play that game as well.
Even with Tua's quarterback? I mean,
yeah.
it's
Because
risky,
Right.
but-
Look, I understand the concerns, but he's played, currently 16 weeks, and he's been fine. So, continue to do what you're doing, and you've been protecting him well. You've been getting the ball out of his hands quicker, and it's been working. So
I think protecting the opportunity for a third game against Ed Oliver, Jim, is the best protection you can give to a Tagovailoa in that game. You do not need to see the NFL's most underrated defensive tackle a third time in a divisional game as a postseason game.
Devin, a Dolphins. Devin definitely loves you continuing to talk about the Ravens.
Devin, I want the Dolphins win the Super Bowl at this point. So,
Mike.
Oh, Joe, boy, you just broke Devin's heart, EJ.
And jeez, there it goes. Like Mike agrees that Kyle is a division rival. They're not just going to roll over and let Pittsburgh make the playoffs.
Gosh, somebody very handsome reached that point too. Yes.
So yeah, I mean, going into those Week 18 games, Miami, Buffalo going to be in those spots. Baltimore, Pittsburgh going to be in those spots. So I do think it's going to come down to Indy and Houston.
It could.
If CJ Stroud, and I know we're a couple weeks out, if he gets healthy and can finish out the season, I think Houston's the better team. I think they would win there. If not, I think it would be Indy getting in.
I'm just saying, some of that Steeler pedigree, man. God, they remind me this week.
Listen, we know you're fond of
Omar. Look, and
knows.
Mike, if you want to earmuff it, or you're not trying to hide what your team is and isn't. There's a difference between beating this Bengals team and beating a Ravens team that doesn't want you in the playoffs. That's all I'm going to say. Or beating a Seattle team that's still fighting for its life. Both games on the road. Like, you can talk about Steeler pedigree all you want. It's still Mason fucking Rudolph, and it ain't Christmas anymore.
Shit.
Like,
he's like, your van isn't a sleigh, motherfucker. That's
I mean, I said 6 toes down. I'm reluctant about it, but I'll.
Bro, your ass ain't stretching to get 6 toes down.
TJ Watt, man. Well, I'll say that.
All right. NFC picture. We have the number 1 seed San Francisco 49ers, a 2-7 matchup of Philly, Seattle, a 3-6 seed of matchup of Detroit and the Los Angeles Rams, a current 4-5 seed matchup of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Dallas Cowboys. Sitting outside in the hunt is still Minnesota, Atlanta. Is that Atlanta? I can't even.
Yes, it is. It is.
Yeah, I guess it would be Atlanta because they're still in the South hunt. Atlanta, Green Bay, and New Orleans. Lions have locked up the division. First time in
93.
Since 93. First time since the realignment. Eagles have clinched a playoff spot. Dallas has clinched a playoff spot. The 49ers have clinched the division. Correct, Kyle?
I believe they have, yes, Jim. And they also could clinch the number 1 seed with the coming battle against the Red Tails.
Yes, they could. They could also do that. Because of tiebreakers and such. So, kind of same question. EJ, I'll start with you in terms of the teams in the hunt, and is anything going to change for you?
By the way, I don't know if you guys noticed the Giants are now eliminated officially this week.
Yes, but your Saints still
they were hanging around, dude. They hung around, dude. The fact they hung around this late in the year is pretty shocking.
No shit.
But anyway, San Fran obviously 1 seed. That's gonna lock in.
Shit, you son of a!
I'm gonna say
Trent, you bastard.
Philadelphia will get the 2 seed, but
Really, Jim,
man, I gotta say though, even with the win against New York yesterday, there's something going on there.
I saw something. I saw somebody tweet something, and tell me if you. I'm not going to say wholly agree with it, but can see the comparison. The Eagles this year is similar to Vikings last year.
I won't go that far. I won't go that far. No, I can see it, but look, the Eagles win the Super Bowl.
You can see like the blurred comparison, right? Like you're not agreeing with the full thought.
Not as good as a record.
The person's kind of trying to say.
But here's the thing, though. They have quality wins this year. They have
correct
quality
wins
on there.
Well
they have wins against great teams. So we're grading them on a championship level. Oh, they're not as good because they've also beaten the Chiefs. They've also beaten all these the Dolphins. They beat all these top teams. So they beat Buffalo. All these top teams. So that's also possible there. But there concerns your bigger picture, we'll say. But I think look at the 2 seed. You still got to play the Cardinals this week and the Giants again next week. Like, come on, that's easy. Detroit locked in the 3 seed as a result of that. I told y'all Tampa last week. Tampa won against Jacksonville. They're the 4 seed. So the Cowboys are the 5 seed, of course. Yep. Number 6, the Rams. Not only are they going to be the 6th seed, they have now entered my Super Bowl bubble. I can see a scenario depending. Now here it is. Here's a key here. Depending on matchup. Depending on matchup. If they can avoid San Francisco and maybe even Dallas, if they play Philadelphia second round playoffs, I can see them beating Philadelphia with their bad secondary and somehow get into the conference championship.
I mean, look, I won't be mad at it if they eliminate the Eagles.
Of course. No. Well, here's the thing. Let me talk about Matt though. If these matchups hold by the middle of January, I'm picking the Rams beat the Lions first round.
I mean, I know
First
those
off.
8-point wins over the Saints and the Commanders are super convincing.
I'm just saying right now, if Lions and Rams play this week in the playoffs, I'm probably picking the Rams to win that game. They're probably end up most likely drawing the Eagles, right?
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for them.
Right. They probably play the Eagles second round of playoffs. I'm assuming. No, they reseed though. Shit.
Yeah, say it would depend.
Depends on it all depends. Like I say, all depends on matchups. If they draw the Eagles second round of playoffs, I'm
here's the deal. So, well, no, if the Eagles would beat Seattle,
right?
The Rams would play the 49ers.
Right. Then that's where it's flawed. However, if for some reason the Rams somehow draw the Eagles somehow, some way,
they couldn't.
At
least not in the second round.
If the Eagles in the one seed, they could.
You already locked the Niners into the number 1 seed.
No, I'm just saying the scenario here. Just
Stop it. Stop it.
Don't play.
Stop it.
Stop
it.
Here's the bottom line. Here's the bottom line. I can see the Rams beating the Eagles in the playoffs. That scenario is fucking terrible. It's terrible.
Here's the scenario he's talking about, Jim, so I can save him from himself by using himself against himself. If what he just said happens, continues to jinx a team like it has, even the Niners themselves, by him and you both working to injure Trent Williams, and the Niners don't get the 1 seed, then he's going to be all in on the Rams. But then by extension, because of his jinx, there's no possible fucking way they can make it to the Super Bowl because he believes in them. So really, by a big bit of philosophical logic that only somebody on this panel with Greek blood could produce, there's no fucking way, EJ.
I made his head hurt. Here you go, Kyle. Bound your head right there. No, but that being said, yeah, but the Rams happened. That being said, Rams hold the 6th seed, Seattle holds 7th seed. Everybody else is out.
Weird.
What you see
Seattle,
here.
It's so weird because Seattle lost that must-win game against Dallas the week after Thanksgiving. And now they're going to.
But again, they beat Philadelphia.
So it wasn't a must-win.
Oh shit!
Thank you for proving my point.
Gotcha, bitch.
Whatever.
If you lose a must-win, you can't recover from it. That's what makes it a must-win.
I said what I said.
Which is why there's not a must-win in week 1.
Oh my gosh. 23.
Kyle, same questions to you.
110-23, best outburst by Jim on a show ever.
For real.
Listen, guys, I got to tell you. Here's where I'm at. The one thing I'll give EJ credit for is matchups do matter. And if the Eagles do come across the Rams, they will be in trouble. I just don't see that happening unless EJ's jinx is good for 2 times around, because he's already done jinx the Niners. So I'm feeling relatively safe, allegedly. But in order for me to not believe in these 7 who are here, Big Jim, that means I have to believe in either the Vikings, which will not happen, or the fucking fraud cons. Listen. Credit to Tampa for beating the Jags this weekend, even though the Jags played probably the worst football in all of 2023.
Oh, easily. Yes.
But they may actually have a winning record to host a playoff game. So for that, I am just tickled pink.
Unlike the Brady-led Bucks last year.
Your Brady-led Bucks last year.
My Brady-led Bucks.
And you no faith in the Packers to recover at this point. They're mathematically in the hunt, but are they dead?
No, not dead, but they're not going to make it.
Wait, you mean your
So they're
Packers?
dead.
You thought we're gonna win 8 games? Are
They
dead?
almost lost to Carolina last week.
So they're dead. Thank you. Yeah, no, I think that the 7 teams that are in the 7 spots right now are not going to change. I think you could see potential seating changes. Obviously, those could start to lock starting this weekend. But yeah, I don't Minnesota, especially now with the loss of TJ Hawkinson, like any less weapons for whoever the hell is under center in Minnesota. That's not good. And Rams are fine. Seattle's fine. It's going to come down to, will the Eagles get upset in one of the final 2 weeks? And can the Cowboys win at home against Detroit and then win on the road at Washington? Because with an Eagles loss, 1 Eagles loss and 2 Cowboys wins, the Cowboys win the division. Those are the things that.
Can you see the Giants beating the Eagles twice, Jim?
I mean, they didn't beat them this week, so there's still a chance of 1.
Well, there you go.
So I know we're not talking power rankings yet. We'll get to that and we'll make fun of each
that later
when the time gets there. But in terms of contenders, and I'd like to use the word differently than EJ does.
Thank God.
I want to talk about teams that you feel have a legitimate chance of making it to / winning the Super Bowl. And maybe those are 2 different things, but maybe we'll cross that bridge as we attack this. But teams that you legitimately see having a chance to play in the Super Bowl. For you, Kyle, we'll start with you on this one. Who do you see as legitimate AFC contenders?
Hubba, money, money, money. Who do I trust?
Yeah.
Listen.
Who do you trust?
And I brought this up to you filthy animals here in the offseason as my second favorite team before all hell broke loose upon Mikey Burns' Bengals. It's the Baltimore Ravens. Right? Once Joe Burrow was never more. I'm going with Lamar Demetrius Jackson all day, every day. I don't believe in the Dolphins.
So let me pose it this way. Is there anybody else? And it'll be the same question to EJ. Is there anybody besides Baltimore?
Well, in the words of the great Dr. Evil, how about no?
No. Hell no.
EJ, is there anybody outside?
Basically what he's saying is that it doesn't matter who they play in the AFC title game. They have no chance.
That's what he just said.
Yeah, pretty much.
So his
See what I did there? Pretty much.
His definition of a contender.
EJ, I clarified what I meant by contender. I meant legitimate chance at playing in and / winning the Super Bowl, not a team that you could see possibly, maybe, hopefully playing in an AFC title game. I'm talking about playing in and winning a Super Bowl. We can see Baltimore there.
If we're going based on
championship Sunday,
right? If you're going based on what you're saying now,
that's why I quantified what contender means.
Right, definitely Baltimore.
So yes, as I said to Kyle.
I'll tell you what.
Is there anybody outside of Baltimore?
I'll tell you what. What Cleveland does
for fuck's
is generate football. Also, Cleveland already beat Baltimore this year. For the record. In Baltimore. For the record. So honestly, I'll go Ravens. I'll go Dolphins. I'll go Browns.
Now you're just jinxing people to be an asshole.
No. Listen.
You get a jinx. You
said it yourself. It's about matchups. I can see Cleveland beating Baltimore in the second round of playoffs.
I can't.
I can see it.
I can't.
Cleveland was the last team to beat Baltimore.
Thank you.
And how many months ago was that, Jim?
That was what, early, like middle of November?
Yeah, it was definitely November. It
was early November, yes.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, again,
November 12th, mid-November.
No. All the Baltimore Ravens are favorites to go to the Super Bowl? Absolutely. In fact, I will probably, after what I saw last night, put them a heavy favorite in the AFC.
Ryan says, "Isn't that the dude that wanted CJ Stroud for MVP? Why would
Ryan's
why would anyone take
I never said C. Stroud was MVP of the league ever.
You said he's in the discussion.
Here's the comments, and by the way, you agree with me on that.
And I do. I'm about to back Ryan. Of all the horses to back in the race against DJ Christian, you found a way to pick the wrong one. Yes, CJ Stroud, Ryan. Very good.
Yeah, CJ Stroud.
Hey,
CJ runs.
Fries kick ass too, by the way.
I mean, again, the Texans have 8 wins this year. I mean, if you had that,
what?
I mean, come on now. No, but it's Baltimore.
doesn't make you an MVP?
It's Miami's offense, obviously, and it's Cleveland, in my opinion. Those 3 teams in the AFC.
I'm not bought in on Miami yet.
Me neither.
Like,
obviously,
I don't blame you.
Yes, you beat the Cowboys. Good job. A lot of teams beat the Cowboys, and the Cowboys play on the road. Sadly. But I could see a scenario where the Cleveland defense gets at Lamar Jackson enough to get there, and depending on health of NFC teams, I could see the same scenario in a Super Bowl. So I can see an argument for Cleveland. I'm not buying in on it yet, but I would buy futures in Cleveland before I bought futures in Miami. Let me put it that way.
Well, that's a different take. Yeah, at least they play
right
defense.
Right now, to me, the only true contender in the AFC is Baltimore, as I define it.
I should have said the Chiefs too, still, because of Mahomes.
You're a dumbass.
But fuck, man, they look.
You're a dumbass.
But again, I will say, but their quarterback is Pat Mahomes again.
It doesn't matter, dude.
Who called that? Wait, no. Who called that shot? Who called that shot, Jim?
You did.
Just saying, Pat Mahomes. And here's the thing goes too. Yes, they don't go through Burrowhead. They don't go through that. But here's the thing.
There is no such.
If in the scenario, the Browns beat the Ravens second round of playoffs, Chiefs win their playoff games, all of a sudden, AFC title games is likely to play in Arrowhead again.
Sir, you make a very bold assumption.
So you're assuming that the Dolphins,
they can lose to Buffalo.
Okay.
I mean, as I'm saying, this is why I keep saying the AFC is wide open.
Both conferences are kind of wide open.
And what's funny,
I feel really good about San Francisco overall.
If the Jags get healthy enough, they might beat Cleveland. Now, granted, that's a big if because they got a lot of injuries. But
yeah, I mean, like I said, it's because I remember a couple years ago people say,
listen, that was a close game in Cleveland. Everybody seems to forget.
Because for the record, the Chiefs have always been the number 1 seed every year with Mahomes. There was a year where Tennessee was number 1 seed and lost to Cincinnati, and Tennessee.
It's because Tennessee won a shit division and proved who they were in the postseason.
We're talking about comparisons to the Vikings. Those Titans are a good one.
Oh, absolutely, without question.
Yeah, though you want to talk about fraudulent number 1 seeds.
So to
Mike
your point about
at the fucking top of the list.
So to your point about seeing my Super Bowl bubble here, I can see the Ravens playing Super Bowl.
I didn't talk about a Super Bowl bubble. That's you, sir.
Okay, well, I'm gonna say I can see those 4 teams playing the Super Bowl still.
Yeah, those are your words, not mine.
Of course, my words. I claim them.
In terms of, I know, but I quantified it multiple times, and you kept trying to push your narrative, sir. Jason has his only AFC team as the Ravens. He said the Browns are sneaky. He said the Bills can be sneaky as well. Yes, they can be. That's not what we were looking for here.
The Browns defense. I have said that they're the most underrated group in the NFL for how many weeks now, gentlemen? So we'll leave.
Mike has Ravens, as much as it pains him to say it. Browns and Bills. Ryan says if Miami has healthy receivers, they can be scarier than people give them credit for.
Waddle's hurt. Maybe it's the rest of the year for the record.
Yeah.
Oh, he's done for the season. See that?
Regular season.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Well, that matters. I mean, listen, if to Ryan's credit, that is a dangerous duo, but again, at some point you have to stop somebody. So
that is true. All right. Same question in the NFC. And I guess I'll go outside of the 49ers. And again, for EJ, when I quantify contenders, I'm talking about teams that legitimate chance of playing in and winning the Super Bowl. EJ, outside of San Francisco, do you see anybody in the NFC?
I really want to say no. I really do. I don't see anyone beating San Fran and San Francisco. I really don't. I honestly, I think it's San Fran and bust. I think Baltimore's is more vulnerable than the Niners because of the conference wonkiness.
All right, Kyle, same question to you.
You know, I'm not going to say the Cowboys because, no offense, Jim, there's history. I'm not going to say the Eagles because I think that EJ's right. Something wonky's going on there. They will not be out in the first round, but I do believe that they will struggle and possibly miss the NFC title game. It's weird, but Trent Williams being knocked out of the end of that AFC title game has me a little spooked. I can see a world where Brock Purdy is not protected by the actual MVP Trent Williams, and it's done by a team that's coached by a man who will bite your fucking kneecaps off. I have the Lions in the window.
Go ahead, EJ.
No, it's interesting. So, no, the Philadelphia thing though. Against San Francisco, against San Fran, they will need home field advantage, honestly, to even have a shot to beat San Francisco. I don't see them beating San Francisco.
So what you're trying to say is that the San Francisco 49ers are a red tail win away from setting up a no-win scenario for the Eagles.
Pretty much. I think we've seen so far. Yeah, pretty much everything we've seen.
Awesome.
Yeah. I mean,
gentlemen, a toast for
Philly
at Muehlhausen. Patience.
Philly is Philly or Dallas, whatever, is likely to play San Fran in the conference championship, but I don't see him beating him in there. Philly can still get there, and they probably will.
Dallas would play there again in the second round if Dallas beats what is now a matchup against Tampa Bay, and the Eagles and Lions win in the first round. Dallas.
But let's be real, fellas. You could see a world where Maker Bayfield ruins the Cowboys' day.
Absolutely. I think this Bucs team is not more dangerous than the one last year.
Well, thanks, Captain.
No fucking shit.
No, what I'm saying to you is this: is like what I'm saying to last year,
line isn't
no shot. I remember saying on this show last year, I was saying there was zero shot that Tampa had to win that game against Dallas last year.
Well, great Nostradamus, but what the fuck?
This year, oh boy,
Nostradamus.
Just saying, this year, I still pick Dallas, but it ain't gonna be like 90-10 like last year was.
Well, again, no kidding. This Bucs team is better than last year's Bucs team. Like, so yeah, they have a chance. They have more of a chance, without question. This offense is playing better. The defense is playing better.
I'm trying to come up with a pun of a famous soothsayer and the word tool, but I'm just not coming up.
But are we? Wait. Here's the thing, though.
Basketball reference for you.
Wait, are we admitting now that this Dallas team is worse than last year's too, though?
No,
I'm not willing to admit that.
Okay, EJ, stop twisting words to when you really know what it is. It's the Cowboys' history, jinx and culture, losing in big moments. Okay. I mean, let's think about the first big game they had this season against the Niners, where they got smashed. They had an opportunity to beat the Eagles and then blew it. Now, they did come around and smash an Eagles team who is now exposed like Janet Jackson in a halftime show. But overall, the Cowboys in the playoffs, in those big moments, whether you're a guy that invests in the clapper or, you see what I did there, making an old reference to an 80s stock and also a coach. You know I'm insulting you, EJ Christian, but Jim is vouching for you, showing his emotion. But man, listen, we've been over this. Hubba, 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 money, money, money. Who can you trust? It's not the Cowboys in the playoffs, especially should they happen upon the 49ers. Now, granted,
but again,
you hurt Trent Williams.
I'm going to bring up last year. Because, again, with that game, and I get Niners better, Cowboys different, whatever. But the point where the Cowboys' one offensive weapon got hurt last year, it was 6-6. The final went 19-12.
Jim, understand, you do remember that the Niners were only a 5th seed that year, correct?
Last year?
I forget what seed they were in, but they were
Wait. Last year or the year before?
We're talking last year.
Last year they were the 3 seed. Last, weren't they?
Were they 3? I
Oh,
forget.
last year it was
I
Philly 1.
I am getting 2 years ago confused because they were a low seed and they still came out and upset Dallas.
Yeah, the year before that they were the 6th seed. I think it was that year.
But the point you make, Jim, about the fact that the one offensive weapon got hurt or this and that happened, the Cowboys keep finding a fucking way. I have never said that the Niners were the better team in either of those matchups. I just start chuckling with my evil maniacal laugh because the Cowboys keep losing, mostly because they find a way, Jim. And with as much as Texas loves their gun laws, there are plenty of people that shoot themselves in the foot, and the entirety of the Dallas Cowboys roster is among them. See what I did there, Jim?
What I will say about Dallas, though, is that their issue is pretty much as San Francisco. I think everybody else in the conference, they're either on level or better than.
Okay.
Including Philadelphia. Including Philadelphia and Detroit.
The chat, I guess, is my response.
Oh, come on. I mean, it's a random Sunday. Come on.
Okay, well,
The
listen.
49ers lost to the Bengals, okay? The 49ers, like, the Eagles lost to the Jets. Like, what are we really doing there? Like,
Okay,
like
well, here's what I'm really
we're
doing.
taking the worst example possible and continuing to beat it to death.
Okay,
Those are bad games.
All we need is a team that's similar to the Bills to talk about, where people doubted the quarterback's ability, doubted the receiver core's ability, and doubted their ability to stay healthy on defense. And guess what? The goddamn LA Rams are that team.
Making my case what I said earlier in the podcast.
Shut the fuck up, EJ.
Fuck you, man. You made my fucking case, motherfucker. I just said that matchups. I just said the matchups. If the no, it's not going to happen though because of the fact that
I'm not saying the matchups. It's Jim's misplaced faith. If you want to have that conversation, cool. No offense, Jim. What I'm trying to say is I'm trying to play Jim's game. Well, golly, Kyle, it was only one score away before we shot ourselves in the foot. You think it's only the Niners that'll happen with? My response is cool story.
No,
Listen,
that's fine. That's fine. The point that you keep bringing up the Cardinals game, bring up the Eagles game, bring up the Bills game, bring up the Dolphins game. Those are the better examples. Okay. You bring up the Cardinals game every week. That's the anomaly.
Everybody has a bad loss on their schedule.
Sure.
That's what it is.
Hey, listen, and the Niners have 3 thanks to Trent Williams getting hurt. I mean, we want to have the MVP discussion again. Cool. That's why I answered the question the way I did with the Rams. Okay, you want an exact set of circumstances? How about I match it to a game of a team that was the lowest floor but the highest ceiling, right? All you got to do is come out and play a good game and play some good defense with which the Cowboys are alleged to be able and capable of doing, and they couldn't do it that week.
All I know is
they are capable.
What we see here,
I agree with that. I want to treat the Cowboys better, regardless of my Niners fanhood. But God damn it, you have to show me something in the playoffs.
This should be the Niners
have to get help.
Well,
yeah, well, Trent Williams has to get healthy. None of this Niners bullshit.
I mean, like I said, I'll say it again. Like, I think this what you have in the NFC, that's going to be the matchups to a T. That's your matchups.
Yeah, most likely.
I think so.
Again, if the Eagles blink over the next couple weeks, it could change because I have faith in the Cowboys. More on that in a second. This weekend, because it's at home against Detroit, and then in the final week of the season at Washington. So if the Eagles blink, that's what's going to change. Otherwise, I think you're right. I think
good luck at that them blinking because the Giants and the fucking Cardinals, but whatever. That being said,
they almost lost to the Giants at home this weekend.
I understand that. They're not losing the fucking Giants.
I mean, if you were a Giants fan, you would know that.
And had Tyrod
Taylor, yes,
Tyrod Taylor played that whole game instead of continuing to throw out the Sopranos wannabe, like the Giants probably would have won that game. Let's be honest. Let's be honest about
that. I just doubt they lose the last 2 games of the year. That being said,
Jason, the Jets beating the Eagles would like a word.
I would also submit that the Raiders beating the Chiefs would also like to see you after that stuff.
I'm just saying that right now, if this is the match we see in 2 weeks, I might pick the Rams and the Lions. Just saying.
I don't know why you have so much confidence in the Rams over the Lions.
Recent Super Bowl pedigree. They got Aaron Donald. They got the receivers are fucking terrifying to
Listen,
work.
I know that they handed your boy his last playoff loss beyond the first round.
Super Bowl pedigree. There's like 3 guys on that offense that played in that Super Bowl, bro. Like, I'm just saying.
By the way, speaking of Super Bowl pedigree, some of that Rams Super Bowl pedigree is playing on your Ravens team, by the way.